Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Let's start this out right. New York is in some serious trouble. When the new mayor was announced, a lot of people are in shock. But I think a lot of people that don't understand economics or how money works just simply outvoted the people that had money. And it's interesting because right now, Mamdani has just released an income and property tax proposal that could affect New Yorkers. And that's out of the New York Times. And it's not, it could affect New Yorkers. It's going to obliterate New Yorkers, both property owners and non-property owners. So let's dive in and check this out. It says here, Zohran Mamdani, the 34-year-old mayor of New York City, 34 years old, I want to remind you, isn't old enough to understand economics because he hasn't been in enough ownership positions in business or an investor for long enough to understand how economics works. Fueled his rise with a simple message about affordability and the moral imperative of properly taxing the rich. I keep thinking property because get ready for what he's about to do. On Tuesday, Mr. Mamdani sent out a conflicting message floating a property tax increase that would affect middle-class New Yorkers and that threatens to disrupt his alliance with Governor Kathy Hochul and embolden his detractors in the city council. In his $127 billion executive budget proposal, Mr. Mamdani had to confront a $5.4 billion budget gap over 2 years, far smaller than the $12 billion deficit that he announced 3 weeks ago, but still sizable. While there are many ways for the city working with the state to raise revenue, Mamdani asserted that only two are available to him: raising the city's property taxes or persuading Ms. Hochul, the governor, to increase taxes on the wealthy. When you tax your people to the point of revolt, that's when you know you're going to lose, right? But it seems like the government just does it just enough. You see, if taxes continue to go up in New York, wealthy people, people that own businesses, that employ people, will leave. They will leave the city. They will ultimately leave the entire state. When you take the section of people, the subsection of wealthy people that think ahead, that prepare, that build things, right? That employ most of the humans in that area, and they leave, then your unemployment skyrockets. On top of that, if you raise property taxes, that will absolutely flow down to the renter. Now, I get it. New York and California and other places that are liberal have got this great thing about rent control, but rent control always ends in disaster. If you do not allow a free market to dictate its own rules, find its own cycle, and the government steps in, at first it seems like it works just fine. The Romans did it, the Greeks did it, many empires before us did it, and then everything collapses. I want to remind you, if you want to take advantage of learning how to buy tax liens and not go pay $5,000 for a course on it, and you want to start making crazy money in interest rates on it, links down below. The sale is going to end soon. Now, Mamdani said he made it clear on Wednesday that his preference was to increase taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations, such that a fiscal crisis is not resolved on the backs of working and middle-class New Yorkers. Now, what would be nice, and I'm just curious, type yes or no if you agree, the governor or the mayor and the governor of New York City and New York State should be focused more on all the corruption and the stealing of tax money inside of the government instead of figuring out ways they could tax people more. Type yes or no if you agree with that. It's funny that that's never a objective of a government leader. You know what? I know that there are your tax dollars being squandered and stolen or completely spent in a abusive way, and we're going to get down to the bottom of that. No. They say we got a budget deficit because we're spending more than we take in. So what we're going to do is we're going to crush the middle class. This will affect the middle class. Now it says here, So what is Mamdani proposing? He has warned that if the governor and the state legislature do not institute tax hikes on the wealthy to bring in roughly $4 extra billion a year, he would have no choice but to lean on one of the few revenue mechanisms the city does control. Not saving money, not spending less, but property taxes. The mayor is proposing to raise the average citywide property tax rate by 9.5% to a whopping 13.45%. That is astronomically high. Unbelievably high. Now, just so you know, in the grand scheme of things, the state of New York actually has high property tax rates. When you look at Buffalo and upstate New York, property taxes could be in the 6 to 9% region. And most people probably don't know this. Type 1 if you didn't know this. You could buy a fourplex in upstate New York for like $100,000 or under. And the reason why property values in certain parts of the state never go up, or very, very extremely, like insanely slowly, because the property taxes are already so high. But this would over triple property taxes in the city of New York. Now, don't get me wrong. Just me personally, I'm just curious what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I think all these crazy cities and states around the country that suffer from insane liberalism should just implode on their own weight. They keep pushing their crazy agendas on the rest of the nation because they tend to have more money than the rest of the nation. And so they, through propaganda and pushing it through advertising, they spread and spew hate and spread misinformation and absolute lunacy, right? So I want to see them implode on each other. But the fact of the matter is, it's like a slow detonation. And I'm curious, type NY if you're from New York, and let me know what you think down below of all this, because I'm sure you can't stand it. And in states like this where there's no voter ID, this is why people like this are getting elected. It says here, the suggested rate increase. Oh, wait, this is even better. Check this out. That would amount to a higher tax for more than 3 million homes in New York and over 100,000 commercial buildings. Utilities like Con Edison would be hit with higher taxes as well. So when Con Edison has their taxes raised, what do they do to utility prices? They bring them up, right? That's going to affect everyone in the state. The poorest of the poor, the richest of the rich. The suggested rate increase would amount to a property tax hike of about $700 per year for the typical owner of a 1 to 2 or 3 family home. That is this is according to Citizens Budget Commission, a nonprofit think tank. I want to let Citizens Budget Commission know your numbers are completely stupid. They're not correct. Go back and fix them. That is not correct. The average price of a condominium in New York is much higher than $1 million. Therefore, if the property taxes triple and go to 13.5%, figure out the math a little better. I didn't even pass high school and I know that's not correct. But hey, this is the New York Times. If they said it, it has to be true, right? You see, raising property taxes, it says here, is politically risky for Mamdani. No, it's not, because they're cooking the books and would perpetuate a Byzantine, opaque system that Democrats and Republicans have long agreed disproportionately affects middle class and working class homeowners. I hate to break this to you, but the politicians do not care about the middle class. They don't care because they're lying and cheating on elections, and it's only going to get worse. The fact of the matter is we have to vote with our money. This is why I believe you're going to see an incredible opportunity in tax liens and tax deed sales in the next couple of years. Like, no joke, the most amazing thing ever. It's one of the most misunderstood ways to invest and one of the most profitable. If you want to learn about it, links down below. But you're going to see these stories in the next 2 years just explode, where people are just giving up, walking away from their houses. And so what would you want? The banks to buy them and sell them or rent them out? Or would you like to? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Do you want the banks to get them or do you want to? Because in these auctions, you're bidding alongside of the banks. No joke. They're using a third party to bid right alongside you. If you want to learn how to win them, start learning. The Economic Ninja is out.